This is the Canon 100D or Rebel SL1 as it's known in the United States, and I've been lucky enough to get my hands on it. And in this video, I'm going to do a review of this camera and tell you exactly what I think of it. Despite being a Micro Four Thirds enthusiast, and in particular Olympus, I do like photography and I really like camera gear. And I love getting my hands on new cameras, trying out new different cameras that I'm not used to and just seeing how they compare and how good they are, and are they the sort of camera I'd like to own. And this is just one opportunity I've got to try out this Canon. Canon are the market leader in cameras, and there's a good reason for that, because Canon make exceptionally good cameras. And there's an argument to say that Canon actually make the best cameras that money can buy. I'm not suggesting this is going to be the best camera that money can buy, but it definitely comes from a great pedigree of camera makers. And Canon have been making cameras for many, many years, and they've perfected the skill at making really good cameras that we enjoy using. And I'm hopeful that this is going to live up to the rest of the camera brand. When this camera was released in 2013, it was billed as the smallest and lightest DSLR camera on the market. And I would suggest it probably still is the smallest and lightest camera on the market, or DSLR on the market. And it was created in direct competition to companies like Olympus, who were at the time starting to make mirrorless cameras, which were much smaller and much lighter and didn't need the mirror box, which made them a bit lighter and easier to use. And this is what this camera was about. The camera was introduced as a beginner camera, and it probably still is a beginner camera, and it would ideally suit someone that's new to photography, someone that's currently using their phone to take photos, or a small point and shoot camera, and they want to up their game, up their skill and improve their photography. And that's probably what this camera is sort of focused towards. And I would suggest that it still is exactly that. It's ideal for somebody that wants to move up in their photography. It is really small and it is really light, and it does compare really favourably with my Canon 400D, which was released just a few years before this. And it's kind of in the same era. What Canon have done, they've shrunk down all the components as best they can to fit into this small body. As you can see, this end is a lot smaller. The grip is much, much smaller. And where I can get sort of a good hand grip on my 400D, this I can only really get sort of a couple of my fingers in my little finger two, just about. And the grip, the depth of the grip is nowhere near as much. Obviously, to try to limit the size of this camera. It doesn't take away its usability though. It's still easy to hold. It's still a good camera to point and shoot and to do what you need to do. You can still hold it well. Whether you get tired of this position after a while, maybe, but it's definitely ergonomically nice, even though it's a bit smaller. Spec-wise, it's quite comparable, if not better than my 400D, and it comes with the 1855 kit lens, which I think is a lot nicer and smoother. And it also has a stabilization on this lens, which is nice. It's a nice kit lens. It is an 18 megapixel APS-C sensor, so it's of its time. Lots of cameras about that sort of time were 18 megapixel. It does 4 frames a second, not quite the sort of speed that you would really want, but 4 frames is quite acceptable. ISO ranges from 100 to 1280, so you've got all the ISO range you're going to need for a camera like this. It does 1080p videos. It's got 1080p, 24 frames or 30 frames a second. That's nice. Obviously, it's not full HD, but it's nice. It's also got a built-in mic, which is nice. It's got 9 autofocus points, and it's also got a touchscreen at the back, a really nice touchscreen. And the menu is very much a Canon menu, and you'd recognize that if you saw this menu. Unfortunately, the one negative thing for me, at least, it's just a fixed screen at the back. It doesn't have any sort of flippy out screen, but it was aimed at a beginner, and that would probably up the price too much. But that's a real shame, because I personally like at least some articulation in the back screen. This doesn't have it, which is a shame, but it's still a nice touchscreen, and you can go into live mode and do all sorts of nice things with it. It's got all the modes you would expect from manual to auto. It's got all the scene modes as well, all the usual scene modes that you would get from a Canon camera. And it's also got a creative auto mode. So you can put it in creative auto, and then you can change some settings in auto to give you things like a soft background or a sharp background, etc. And you can have a little bit of creativity in auto if you want to. And I think that's a nice little touch. You can also change a few other settings in that auto mode. One nice thing I've noticed already is that it's got a 2-second timer. My 400D has only got a 10-second timer, so it's really nice to not have to wait hours for your picture to be taken when you're shooting at night. And that's why I am tonight. You see, I'm out at night. So what I intend to do tonight is to take a fefew shots with this camera and go through that process with you, so you can see just as well as I do whether this camera is as good as I think it's going to be, and if the shots are going to be any good, and I'm sure they will. But it'd been quite nice for us to have a look and take a few photos. When this was released in 2013, it cost about 700. Now you'd pick it up for body only somewhere around the 100 to 150 mark, and the lens costs about 50 as well. So I think if you look around, if you're lucky enough, you could get this cheaper. And I imagine some people that have this camera probably given it by somebody else that no longer uses it, and potentially in those circumstances, if you do get hold of one of these cameras, it's probably going to be in a very good condition, so it probably hasn't had a lot of use. But let's go out and let's try and find a couple of competitions. We'll take a couple of shots, have a look at how this camera performs, and you can see with me if it's worth buying. I'm at Lincoln's High Bridge, and I really like the look of this lamp. I haven't been down here for quite a while. I haven't taken shots of High Bridge, but there's this lamp here and there's this really nice building behind it. It's in quiet darkness. I've got a base ISO 5 seconds f5.6. I'm pretty much focused on the lamp, and I'm going to just take that shot now. There goes my first shot. I'm on 2-second timer, and there it is. Nice. So hopefully when I've edited this shot, I'll bring out the lines in these railings. I'm at the other side of this building now, and once again I've gone for this lamp. I'm focused on this lamp. It's on a third, just on the third there, and it's got this nice little courtyard. I'm on 1 second, f8 and base ISO. Let's give that a go. And there's my second image, and by the time I've edited that, I think it'll look quite nice. It's got some nice light around it. It's really focused on the lamp. This is a long shot with a glory hole itself. I've got this railing in front, and I've got this nice line of lights down here. This is an 8-second shot, f5. This is the lowest I could get. It's really difficult to get focused, but here we go, 2-second timer. And there's that shot. Obviously, by the time I've edited it, hopefully will look a bit better than that. In fact, what I might do is just zoom in a bit and just slightly change the composition, because I've got the top of this railing, which I didn't really like. This is f5.6, so I think I'm going to just 20 seconds it's given me. That's a bit nuts. Let's go with that anyway, see what that does. And there we have on the back of the app. That looks a lot better. This is a square image of High Bridge. I'm focusing on these lights. I think the focusing at night is really struggling to focus on 13 seconds f4.5. And I'll show you that when it's finished. There it goes. 2-second timer. And let's have a look when that's done. And that looks lovely. That's a nice shot. It's got all the lights. It looks great. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it, learned something about photography or the Canon Rebel SL1 100D, then why not give it a like? That would be amazing. That would make my day. And if you're enjoying my photography content, these camera reviews I'm doing, then why not subscribe to the channel? If you did, that would be fantastic. Once again, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.